Penelope and Eloise, their friendship has been of particular interest to me in my brain these last few days. And with the release of season 3's trailer, oh girl, we need to talk about it. So get in here and let's have a discussion. But if you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Deborah, student singer, songwriter, and everything else in between. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my favorite TV shows, movies, and books. And today we're talking about Bridgerton and specifically everything we know about the dynamic of friendship between Eloise and Penelope. Without further ado, let's get into it. And that's on that. Period. Like I said, Eloise and Penelope's friendship has always been of interest to me. I love the fact that they are two women in their society who enjoy thinking differently and fighting for their own agency. Eloise herself is very much a mixed bag for me sometimes, but I do love her thinking, and also to make her brothers uncomfortable is something that I quite enjoy seeing. I think her addition in the family is quite necessary, that not everyone wants to be like a Bridgerton in the traditional sense of living. I'm very excited for when it's her time. So first of all, let's start with what we know about Penelope and Eloise as friends, but also as individuals themselves and everything I've noticed so far. See, the thing is, Eloise as a person is very passionate. She's very passionate about her cause, what she finds important, reading books, all of that. But as a result, she can also become very self-involved, very focused on the self, something that the Bridgertons tend to have in common. As a result, her short-sightedness and her tunnel vision does not enable her to see things clearly or the people around her. But when I look at her and Penelope, I truly don't see this dynamic as something of ill intent or maliciousness. Rather, I see it as a girl who has lived a very sheltered life, who comes from a family who, well, they live in their old world and have their own fair share of shelteredness, but she is a girl who wants more from life, but she has such tunnel vision that she doesn't see how her actions affect other people, especially her best friend Penelope. Sometimes Eloise does get on my nerves, but it's not to the point where I despise her, it's just she has some immaturity. Penelope is the complete opposite of Eloise. She is an internalizer versus Eloise, who is an externalizer. Eloise externalizes her feelings constantly, verbalizes them, and almost takes them out on other people, versus Penelope, who internalizes them, sits with her feelings. I mean, even in the books, when she overhears Colin saying, well, that he would never marry her, she internalizes it rather than saying anything. But if you look at the family situation that she was brought up in, she wasn't even allowed a normal voice to voice her opinions sometimes. Versus in the Bridgerton home, Violet, while she does scold her children half the time, her children are quite opinionated and do give each other the space to say their opinions. But in Penelope's home, that is not necessarily the case. In fact, she's a lot of the times pushed to the side or told that her opinions aren't important, or she's just told to shut up half of the time. So you can imagine why it's so hard for her to be able to verbalize it even to her own best friend. Well, because the example that she's had in her own home isn't the same. And so you have the situation, a person who is used to giving and constantly caring about others, and a person who can give to others but is also very much focused on herself and can be inherently more selfish. When those two come together, well, one takes and the other one gives. Now, in this situation, like I said, it's not like Eloise is incapable of understanding other people's feelings or being self-aware. It's just, well, the environment that she's grown up in, she has fairly sheltered and ignorant siblings. So I'm also not surprised that she acts the way that she does. Unlike other cases, I truly think she doesn't mean it with ill intent, honestly, but at the same time, that is how it does come across. She can come across as extremely selfish, rude, and abrasive, and that doesn't really help anyone, now does it? But I bring up their character profile so we can get a deeper understanding of the people that we're talking about, and therefore we are able to dissect the situation a little bit deeper. See, the problem comes when Eloise's interests and her own personal priorities overshadow Penelope's needs in their friendship. You see, Penelope is the more shy friend, while Eloise is technically more outgoing than she is, and also has the social standing to be more outgoing. Because of how Eloise is, she's not necessarily the sappiest or the most emotional person, while Penelope secretly is. And as a result, Eloise places a lot of her personal priorities over Penelope's, and that overshadows a lot of the time how Penelope is feeling. What Penelope needs is a friend that will also listen to her and will take the time to truly get to know her and see her. Because of the short-sightedness, it truly looks like Eloise dominates the friendship, and Penelope is just in the background. However, it is important to note that we do have evidence that Eloise truly does care for Penelope. I mean, the both of them in the book made a pact to be spinsters together, and out of all the people in Penelope's life, Eloise is the one to stand up for her in front of Cressida, her bully, and also of people around her. She defends her in every single situation she possibly can. However, there are some moments in which I don't particularly love. Now, one of my biggest criticisms of Eloise is that she couldn't take the time to actually look at her friend and notice the turmoils that her friend was feeling, or the fact that her friend literally had a crush on her brother for so long. Even in the books, Eloise, while she means well, a lot of the times tend to be soiled in her own personal issues. She thereby overspeaks or doesn't even let Penelope finish her own sentences, which as a listener and reader, it was very frustrating to have to listen to and read. And as a watcher of just the show, it's also extremely frustrating because you want Penelope to have her moment. You want her to be able to speak. Another criticism is the fact that Eloise has been so blind that she does not realize her own friend is such a good listener to other people's problems and also gossip. In fact, this is kind of confirmed in the second season finale, where Eloise goes to search through Penelope's things and they have an argument. And Eloise tells her that she was finally listening to Penelope. And that's when she realized that she could be Lady Whistledown. But for her to say that she was finally listening to Penelope lets you know that she wasn't really listening to Penelope before, which is also very sad. And it's true. A lot of the times you can see that Eloise truly sometimes just wanted someone to rant to and to talk about and bounce ideas off of, but was not really paying attention to Penelope and her actions or her feelings or even her facial expressions. Sometimes Penelope was just simply in the background while Eloise ranted on and on constantly, which is annoying to say the least and ignorant to say the most. This is where people criticize Eloise a lot of the time. She's very much all talk and no action sometimes, which is a very valid point. And I do agree she needs to be a more attentive friend. I mean, that's the basic bare bones of friendship. Which brings me to my other point, Penelope being Lady Whistledown. And was Eloise's reaction warranted? Was it fair? Can we give her grace? What about it? It's difficult. And if you put yourself in Eloise's shoes, Penelope being Lady Whistledown would shock you. I mean, you have to understand that this is a society where one's reputation is extremely important. You could be up in society one day and down in the dumps the next. It's a very fickle place where the slightest thing can affect you severely. And if it was me and I found out that my friend had been Lady Whistledown this whole entire time and had finally written a column about me, I would be reasonably upset because yes, she was technically kind of protecting Eloise, but that was not the complete reason why she talked about Eloise in her paper. It wasn't completely for selfless reasons. Penelope also wanted to save her own skin in the process. Now, I know there is a scene in which Penelope says that she couldn't even speak to the queen if she wanted to or hold audience with the queen even if she tried, which is a fair point, but considering the fact that the queen reveres Lady Whistledown, it's very possible for her to want to meet with the queen in secret and send a letter to the queen as Lady Whistledown, or give a code or something, or pass it on from one servant to the other and then actually meet with the queen in secret, and also maybe possibly striking a deal with the queen since the queen is so avidly interested in Lady Whistledown's papers. And the reality is that running such a gossip column, which is what Lady Whistledown is, you have to know at some point that you're going to ruffle feathers and it will have consequences. So this is where Penelope did mess up and she should have fessed up. And that is where I do criticize Penelope, and I do understand partly Eloise's reaction. Also considering the fact that Penelope has constantly gaslighted Eloise about who Lady Whistledown was. If you think about it logically, imagine being in that situation. That would most likely make you feel very upset. However, at the same time, the words that they exchanged to one another were not great. And I do like the fact that Penelope was able to stand up for herself during their argument, because Penelope has not been able to stand up for herself in anything. And so she was able to call out Eloise on Eloise's all talk and no action and her attitude. And it's true. So I also really did respect that. But does it justify Eloise hanging out with Cressida Cowper? That is a different story. I get that Eloise is pissed, and I know that they'd said some words to each other that they probably would love to have taken back, and I know Eloise would probably at some point miss being friends with Penelope, and they would surely miss one another. However, hanging out with Cressida Cowper is a big betrayal. Now you can see in the trailer, the body language between her and Cressida is very awkward. I mean, you can see that Eloise is clearly trying as much as he possibly can to be friends with Cressida. I mean, it's not a natural interaction between the both of them. So in my personal prediction, this friendship between her and Cressida will not last long. But obviously it's being played up in the trailer as per usual, and is good PR, of course. But I'm pretty sure that Eloise is just trying to do that thing where you try and hang out with somebody else and try and make a new friend to make your previous friend jealous. It's immature stuff that some of us have done, so I wasn't very much surprised, but it is a huge betrayal. And does it make it right? No, because Cressida has notoriously bullied Penelope throughout all her life, especially in the books and also in the series. Cressida has actually bullied almost every Bridgerton sister, actually. So the whole family caught strays from Cressida. And the fact that Eloise would try and attach herself to the likes of her will not go unnoticed by other family members, and there'll probably be a comment in some shape or form around it. I mean, even Violet Bridgerton, the mom, doesn't even like Cressida's mother. So it's going to be very unnatural for the both of them to even try and hang out. So there's no worry there for me personally, but it is quite upsetting to see, and it's also extremely disrespectful. And I cannot wait until Penelope actually takes some action and tells her off about that, because that's got to be horrible. I'm very excited to see how it goes, and knowing how Bridgerton's format works, I'm pretty sure between the first to 4 episodes, this is my personal prediction, they're probably going to try and play up the friendship between Cressida and Eloise for a bit, and then somewhere between the 4th and 5th episode it's going to break. If you've noticed, even in Queen Charlotte, the 4th episode is always the extreme turning point in Bridgerton as a whole, and in the whole entire Bridgerton universe. So I'm very excited to see how that plays out. I'm very ready to see Penelope voice her own needs and wants, and for her to be loved, respected, and cherished as she should be. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I feel like a lot of you guys who watch my videos are not subscribed, so please do take the time. It really helps the channel. It helps me. But anyways, that's all for me for now. I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye!